Today we're going to explain a new comedy romance drama called Will You Marry Me? The episode opens on our main heroine, Mary, who's a designer. She's at a festival giving a presentation for a project. The people across from her don't like her presentation. They make fun of her and start gossiping about her. After listening to all that gossip for a long time, Mary finally yells, "Fine, I don't want to work with any of you. You're all trash. You don't know anything." Next scene, Mary talks with her employee, Songi. Songi says, "I heard what happened in your presentation, how you got into that fight with them." She reassures Mary, "Don't worry, I'll pay you at the right time." But Songi admits she has doubts, and then they talk about a later vacancy. Songi looks at the screen and tells Mary about it. Later, Songi looks at one of Mary's prints and wants some changes made. She talks to her boss and asks for permission. The boss initially refuses, but later ends up agreeing. Mary thanks her for taking the job. In the next scene, Mary goes to a department store to buy a ring for her marriage. She messages her boyfriend, Wooju, asking, "Where are you? I'm waiting for you." But Wooju is with another woman they're flirting. He texts Mary back saying he can't come, that he's in a meeting. At that moment, a teddy bear bumps into Mary. Next, Mary talks to her mother, Yong-soo. Yong-soo says she found out Mary registered the marriage, but that's not enough, she must have a wedding. Mary replies she won't do a wedding, she doesn't have the money, and she has other work to do. Wooju's mother is talking about booking a hotel. Yong-soo points out that Wooju has a degree, and his husband is a university professor, they must have money. Then Yong-soo asks where Mary is. Mary says she's moved into her new home and is setting up her things. Yong-soo says she and Wooju should live together and not keep asking her for money. Mary says, "Okay, I understand," but then something falls under Wooju's foot. It turns out to be an earring. Mary says, "I'll call you later," and Yong-soo asks whose earring it might be. She checks the bed and finds a strand of hair. So, next scene, Mary is with Wooju. Wooju is checking his posts and says, "Look how great this photo did," and people are liking it. Mary says she knows the user who always likes and comments on all his posts, a girl. Wooju gets a little proud and says she's his colleague. Mary directly asks, "Did you sleep with her?" Wooju throws his drink away and says, "What nonsense are you talking about? Why would I sleep with her?" Mary shows the earring she found and says she found it on the bed. Then she shows a photo of the girl from a user. The girl in the photo is wearing the same earring. Wooju says he brought his colleague home to show his place. She must have dropped it there. He promises he'll return it. He says this happened last week, but Mary notices from the post that last week, he and that girl went to a resort together. Mary warns him, "If you keep lying, I'll make a scene at your office and tell everyone." He eventually confesses and says, "Yes, I slept with her, so what? I was stressed, so I did it." He insists this marriage won't happen with him. Mary says she'll do things on her own. Wooju then says, "Forgive me, I won't do it again," and slaps himself, pleading with her to be rational. "We already booked everything. We'll waste our money." He begs, "Please give me one more chance." At that moment, a message comes in from his girlfriend saying, "I'm here. Where are you? I'm waiting on the bed for you." Mary sees this. Wooju hides his phone and lies. "It's a message from my boss. He's calling me." Mary asks to see his phone. At first he refuses, then pretends to hand it over and runs off with the phone. Mary stops him and tries to grab it. Wooju drops the phone to the floor, trying to break it, but Mary's hand gets in the way, and she gets hurt. Wooju says, "Are you okay? You shouldn't have gotten involved. Why are you crossing the line?" Mary replies, "You're the one crossing the line. I don't know I want a divorce. We were together for 5 years. You forgot my birthday. You didn't come on the wedding day. I put on my wedding dress myself. I can't stand all this anymore. Let's get divorced." A drink spills across his face as she storms out. So, next scene, we meet our main hero, Wooju, who is at the airport arriving in South Korea. He's seated next to an elderly woman. An airline staff member and a man come over and say to Wooju, "This is my mother. I should be sitting here." Wooju refuses to give up the seat. After arriving in Korea, the elderly woman thanks him. Now we flash back to the scene from 14 hours earlier. At the airport, the elderly woman's son told a man, "Don't worry, I'll have my mother sign on the plane so the land will be ours." Wooju overheard this. Later, Wooju talks to his grandmother, Pilnyeon. Pilnyeon says, "You made it to Korea, come to me quickly." Wooju says she wants to meet him, but Pilnyeon says she doesn't want a meeting. "I prepared a good dish for you. Put it in the fridge and eat it later." Wooju says he can't come right now. In the next set of scenes, we see Wooju on several trips. enjoying himself, taking photos, and posting them on his Instagram. Later, Mary and Wooju leave the office together. The divorce papers will be finalized as soon as Mary signs. Wooju asks if Mary is going to tell her mother about them. Mary refuses and says she'll tell her later. Wooju says, "Our breakup was for the best. You were being too hard on me." But then everything changes. Wooju's girlfriend calls asking, "Where did you go? I'm waiting at the airport." Mary sees Wooju. He claims he's on an occasion and that the phone call was from his boss. He tries to shake hands and says, "Forget everything about me. I'll find someone better for you." Mary tells him to go jump in a lake and starts to walk away. Wooju's girlfriend calls again. He pushes her and runs off. She yells back, but he doesn't listen. At 7:01, the next scene shows Mary blowing off steam by playing a game. She tells herself, "No matter what happens, I'll live without you. I'll make lots of money. I'll go on blind dates." After saying all that, she starts to cry. On the other side, we see our main guy, Wooju, leaving the place where he'd been staying. A woman named Woo-man comes up to him and says, "You're leaving now? I don't know why I'm feeling sad." She later gives him something to eat. Wooju says, "I had to go, but next time I come back, I'll bring you bread. You don't know, but our bakery is huge. It's famous around the world." We see the bakery later. The owner is Pil Neon, who is Wooju's grandmother. Wooju's aunt Mayon is there, along with a cousin named Yongshu. Reporters come to interview Pil Neon and she's given an annual prize. So, meanwhile, Mary is at home talking with a friend and looking over the divorce papers. She realizes she forgot to sign them. She still needs to give them to someone. Then there's a knock at the door. It's a police officer and a woman. The next scene takes her to the police station, where she finds out the realtor who sold her building scammed her. The building's previous owner used to live overseas, so the realtor put the building on a fake listing, got signatures, took the money, and ran. Mary asks, "What will happen to me? I need my money. That money is my mom's." The officer says there's nothing they can do right now. She has to move out. Mary calls Wooju to tell him what happened. At first, he seems indifferent. Mary says, "You told me you knew a lawyer. Put me in touch. I need my money." She insists the money belongs to her mother. Wooju gestures toward his own pockets and says he won't help. Later, he repeats it. He won't help. Now they're complete strangers. Mary gets very drunk and tells herself he was right. They really are strangers now. Wooju's mother calls, asking about him and offering to send food like she always does. But Mary tells her not to. Yongsoo asks if everything's okay. Mary agrees. Yongsoo says she doesn't have much time left, and whatever she can do for both of them, she will. Meanwhile, Wooju is headed somewhere but goes the wrong way. Mary, stumbling drunk, has a small accident. Wooju gets out of his car and asks, "Are you okay? You should go to the hospital." Mary insists she's fine and tries to leave, but Wooju stops her. "I don't think you're okay. Give me your number. If you go see a doctor, I'll call you." Mary agrees and gives him her number. As he starts to walk away, she sees his name on his shirt. It's Wooju and stops him. "Where are you going? Why are you ignoring my calls?" Wooju says, "When did I do that?" She grabs him and starts hitting him. Wooju asks, "What are you doing?" Mary, totally drunk, screams she wants the money, 100 million won. Wooju says he has no money. He tries to get back into his car, but Mary jumps in with him and keeps kicking. He manages to pull her out, but she climbs back in on top of him, and the fight goes on for a while. Mary, wasted, insists he should be her Wooju. She cries, "What am I going to do now? Why did you cheat on me? What will I tell my mother?" "You don't have any money now." Wooju asks if she's all right. She nods, but he says, "I don't think you're okay." Then Mary looks down and realizes she's sitting on a cactus. The next scene shows Mary at the hospital, where Dr. Jin is removing the thorns. A little later, the nurses gossip that she must have been drunk and sat down where she shouldn't have. They notice she's nearby. Mary doesn't say anything and leaves. We see Jin Guang talking with Wooju, saying, "You're here for a month. Why didn't you come see me?" Wooju asks, "How did you find out?" Jin Guang says his father is Wooju's grandmother's doctor, and that during checkups, Wooju's grandmother mentioned it. Jin Guang asks, "Who was that girl? Is she your girlfriend?" Wooju denies it and starts to explain what happened, but Jin Guang says it's a long story, and he'll tell him later. While Jin Guang yawns, Wooju gently touches his face and teases him to cover his face when yawning. Jin Guang asks, "Want to go grab coffee?" Wooju agrees and then spots Mary nearby. Wooju says he had told Mary to get an X-ray, but she wouldn't listen. He runs off after her. In the next scene, Mary and Wooju are together again. Mary says she could have taken a taxi, and Wooju replies, "Would you just sit there like that?" Mary apologizes, "I'm sorry, I mistook you for someone else." Wooju tells her to stop talking. He can smell alcohol on her breath. Later, Mary stops the car and gets out, looking at the sunrise. She says, "My world is ruined," but notes that sunrises and sunsets keep happening. There must be some way out. Her stomach growls and she says, "Breakfast is on me." Wooju refuses and says he'll take her home. At her door, Mary tells him she'll send the money. He tells her to go see a doctor for a checkup. Then he leaves. Mary goes inside and lies down, asking herself why she acted that way and that she shouldn't have. Arc. Next, we see a company hosting a wedding festival, kind of like a lucky draw. Everyone writes their name and puts it into a jar. Whoever's name is drawn wins a 5,000,000 townhouse. The company CEO who's giving away the townhouse is Sang-yoon, and he's with his secretary. But the lucky draw is rigged. They already pre-selected who will be chosen. You can see the guy there who's the mayor's nephew. Sang slips a card and bends it a little so he can recognize it later, hiding it on his arm. The lucky draw begins. The jar is passed to the newlyweds. Someone is about to pull a card from the jar, but drops the card. It slips from his hand and he doesn't know where it went. He tries hard to find it. But just then, the card lands in his hand. He thinks it must be his because he's the one who bent it. But when he reads the name, it turns out to be Mary's. In the next scene, Mary gets a call telling her she's won the prize. She remembers the moment when she was coming back from the department store and accidentally bumped into a teddy bear. That's when she first found out about the wedding festival and decided to put her name in for the lucky draw. The organizers talk to her and explain what documents she'll need to submit, including proof of marriage. Mary starts to wonder how she'll provide that. After all, she's divorced. But then she realizes the divorce papers are still with her, and she never signed them. She quickly opens her laptop and cancels the divorce filing. Meanwhile, one of the staff members talks to Sang-yoon and says, "The woman who won the townhouse called me. She sent all the documents and meets all the requirements, but she mentioned her husband can't come because he lives abroad." Sang-yoon replies, "We'll have to postpone this. Tell her that having her husband present is mandatory." Later, that same person calls Mary and explains the situation. Mary says, "But you told me before that my husband didn't need to be there. Just me." The man replies, "I don't know about that, but it's the company's rule. When the award ceremony happens, both you and your husband have to be there to receive it." Mary has no choice. She sends a voice message to Wooju, saying it's really important. She tells him she's won a lucky draw and explains everything. But Wooju is with his girlfriend at the time. They're in the shower together. When he sees the message, his girlfriend asks what it is. Wooju just says, "Nothing, it's spam," and deletes it without even listening. Mary has no idea what to do now. Then she gets a text from the main guy asking, "Did you go to the doctor?" She replies no. When she sees his name, Wooju, she suddenly gets an idea. She realizes she never told the department store who her husband was, so she could just take him along. In the next scene, she's talking with Wooju. He asks again, "Did you go to the doctor?" She says no, that she got busy and couldn't make it. Then she casually asks, "By the way, are you married?" Wooju says no. Mary looks relieved. She smiles and says, "I know it's only been a day since we met, and it might be too soon to ask this, but will you be my husband?" And that's where the episode ends. We'll meet again in episode 2. Until then, bye. At the start of episode 2, we see Wooju at his house, remembering a moment from his childhood. He's with his parents, and the three of them are going somewhere. Wooju is arguing with his father, who scolds him in return. Wooju snaps back saying, "It's not mine, it belongs to my teacher." But the show doesn't clearly reveal what the argument was actually about. Suddenly, their car crashes. In the present, Wooju wakes up, takes his medicine, and recalls that moment when someone had approached their car right after the accident. He remembers asking that person for help, but the man had refused. Meanwhile, we see Mary at her house, looking at a message from Wooju, asking if she had gone to see the doctor. She starts thinking about all the times Wooju had helped her. Talking to herself, she says, "He didn't seem like a weird person. Maybe I can ask him for help. It's just for one day anyway." After that, she calls him. Wooju notices her name saved in his phone under the contact name Cactus. In the next scene, the two meet face to face, the same scene we saw at the end of episode 1. Wooju first asks if she went to the hospital, but Mary says no, explaining that she was too busy. Then she suddenly asks, "Are you married?" When he says no, she sighs in relief and says, "Then will you be my husband?" Wooju is completely shocked and asks what she means. Mary quickly adds, "Not for real, you just have to act like my husband. Can you do that? You just need to play the role for a short while. My whole life depends on this. You have to come with me somewhere." When Wooju asks where, she says, "The department store." He frowns. "What are we going to do there? Shopping?" But she shakes her head, thinking to herself, "I can't tell him about the award." Wooju insists, "At least tell me why you want me to be your fake husband and why we need to go to the store. I can't help you unless I know something." But she doesn't explain anything, just says, "Please come at that time. I'll compensate you." Wooju smirks. "How much?" She gestures a small amount with her fingers. He teases, "What, 100 million?" She quickly denies it, saying, "That's way too much." Wooju laughs. "When you were drunk before, you asked me for that much. Is that your base rate?" Mary apologizes, saying she mistook him for someone else back then. Wooju wonders why she wants him to act as her fake husband. He imagines maybe she's cheating on someone, that he'd catch her kissing another guy, and he'd beat that guy up before taking the money for a settlement. But Mary tells him it's nothing like that. Wooju replies, "So it's not about the money?" She hesitates, then nods. "I knew it," he says. "It's always about money. You're a scammer. I'm not helping a scammer." Mary looks hurt and says, "Were you playing games with me this whole time? So you never intended to help me at all?" Wooju admits, "Nope, your little fraud plan will never work." Saying that, he walks away. She tries to stop him, but he doesn't listen. In the next scene, we see Myeon talking with Neon. Myeon's husband, Haku, who is the company's director, is also there. Neon is angry, asking why Myeon is removing her son, Young-soo, from the head of marketing. "You can't kick him out and replace him with Wooju," she says. Myeon calmly replies, "I'm not kicking him out, just demoting him. He's been working here for years, yet our sales keep dropping. That's why Wooju will handle it now." Neon keeps pleading, but Myeon doesn't budge. Neon accuses her, "You're only doing this because he's your grandson." But Myeon insists, "That's not true. You know very well your son had the first chance, he failed." Meanwhile, we see Young-soo relaxing, eating chocolate. His mother comes over, and he offers her some, but she scolds him. "How can you sit here enjoying yourself when this is happening to you? Wooju's taking your place." Young-soo shrugs and says, "Don't worry, Mom. I already have a plan. You'll see what I'm going to do." Just then, Haku walks in. Myeon turns to him angrily. "Why didn't you say anything? I've worked here for 30 years, but no one listens to me. I have no worth here." Haku replies coldly, "This is business, and everything Neon said was true. Come on, I'll take you to that nice restaurant we went to before." Hearing that, Myeon cheers up. That night, we see Jin Kyung getting ready to rest when Wooju calls her. Seeing his name makes her so excited that she accidentally bumps her head. On the call, Wooju tells her he's coming to meet her. In the next scene, they meet in person. Jin Kyung asks, "Will you start work tomorrow?" He nods. She explains that his grandmother couldn't come see him because she can't travel by plane. "But finally, you'll meet her," she says. "I can't always take care of her, you know. I'm not her real granddaughter." Wooju looks at her and says, "You like Young-soo, don't you?" She denies it. Then she asks, "By the way, what about that cactus lady? Is she okay?" At first, Wooju nods, but then he laughs. "No, I think she's not hurt in the butt, it's her head. Something's wrong up there. She asked me to be her husband." Jin Kyung chuckles. "So she likes you?" He quickly denies it. "No, she just wanted me to act like her husband for a day. I don't even know what she's up to, so I said no." Just then, they see a young girl running nearby, with her mom chasing after her. The girl suddenly falls, and Wooju notices she's holding a small toy bear. That sight takes him back to a memory at a police station where a little girl once gave him a toy bear. He had comforted her and told her not to cry before she left. Back in the present, Wooju asks Jin Kyung, "Do all kids have these teddy bears?" She asks why he's curious, then remembers, "Wait, you took one like that with you to America. I remember now you told me a girl gave it to you. I used to tease you that she was your first crush." Wooju smiles faintly and says, "She wasn't my crush." Jin Kyung asks, "Where is she now?" Wooju replies, "I don't know. I don't even remember her name. She's probably living a happy life somewhere." Meanwhile, we see Mary at home being told to leave because the building is about to be renovated. She refuses at first, but is eventually forced out. Later, she sits alone on a playground swing when her mom calls. Her mom asks, "So, when are you getting married? You said the wedding was postponed, but your sister Sori is asking again. She wants to book her flight tickets." Mary nervously answers, "Woo-Ju's been really busy lately." Mary said, "I'll talk to him myself and let you know. By the way, how's everything with you?" Yongsoo replied, "Things are great in America. My restaurant is doing well, and my English has gotten much better. If you had told us your wedding date earlier, we would have started preparing too." But Woo-Ju said, "I can't tell you that right now. I don't even know myself. Actually, there's something I need to tell you." Yongsoo asked, "What is it?" Mary replied, "I can't say it over the phone." Yongsoo said, "Did you two have a fight? That happens. Just listen to him, okay? Whatever he wants, just give it to him. Sometimes losing is what actually makes you win." Mary wanted to tell her that they had broken up, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. Next, we see Woo-Ju arriving at the company. He first greets his uncle, Hanku. Hanku asked, "Is this your first time here for real?" Woo-Ju shook his head and said, "No, when the construction was happening here in my childhood, I visited once. You took good care of me back then." Hanku smiled and said, "Thanks for remembering. Come on, I'll introduce you to the employees." So, he brought Woo-Ju outside and introduced him to everyone. In the next scene, we see Hanku talking to his son in the elevator. "There's a meeting today. Are you ready?" he asked. His son nodded. In the meeting, they first discussed an influencer who had millions of followers and had promoted their product. Then they started talking about design packaging. Yongsoo interrupted and brought up copyright infringement concerns. One of the women said, "That's not going to happen." But Yongsoo recalled an incident from 6 months ago when something similar had occurred. He said, "The head is responsible for all this meeting Woo-Ju." Woo-Ju apologized, "I'm sorry, I'll look into it." His grandmother told him, "This is your first project, don't make any mistakes, be careful." Later they found out which company was handling the design packaging. It was Mary's company. She was on the phone with them, asking for 10 times the original price. The woman said, "We'll think about it." Song-hee asked Mary, "Why are you asking for so much money?" Mary thought back to what had happened 2 hours ago. Yongsoo had called her with a disguised voice and told her, "Someone from that bakery company will contact you, but you must demand 10 times the original price." Song-hee said, "That call could have been fake. You can't trust a stranger." Mary replied, "That's why I want to test it. I'm asking for 10 times more to see what happens." Woo-Ju was also informed about this design company charging such a high price. He said, "All right, I'll talk to them. Set up a meeting with their CEO." Next, we see Sung-hyun rewatching his award video again and again. He yelled at his secretary, "Listen." Listen said, "I'll find a way to withdraw the prize." Sung-hyun shouted, "How's that possible? Get over here!" When Listen came closer, he kicked him and yelled, "That's not going to happen." Then he threw his shoes at him and ordered, "Clean these." Listen obeyed. Back in his office, he called Mr. Kwon and said, "No matter what, call Mary and tell her she must bring her husband to the award ceremony or she won't receive her prize." Listen then remembered what happened 3 months ago. Sung-hyun had received a message from the mayor asking for a townhouse for his nephew. Sung-hyun didn't know what to do if he agreed. His father would find out. Then Listen suggested, "You could host a wedding festival and give it to him as part of that. No one will ever know you planned it on purpose." Meanwhile, Mary and Song-hee were waiting for a response from Woo-Ju's company. They'd been waiting a long time, but no call came. Then Mr. Kwon sent a message to Mary. "You must bring your husband here, or you won't get the prize." Song-hee asked, "What does the message say?" Mary replied, "It's not from the company." Then Mary asked, "What does your brother do? I needed Kayshawn." Song-hee said, "I don't know. I haven't seen him in 2 months." Mary thought to herself, if I bring Song-hee's brother there and Woo-Ju also shows up, what will happen? I can't do that. Song-hee asked, "What's wrong?" Mary replied, "Nothing, I'm just going somewhere. If the company sends any message, let me know." In the next scene, we see Woo-Ju's family meeting his ex-girlfriend Mary's boyfriend. His older sister's name is Jinhwa, and his mother's name is Yoon-suk. Jinhwa said, "Where's Woo-Ju? His phone's off." Yoon-suk replied, he went to Hong Kong and turned it off. They started talking about how Woo-ju and Mary broke up. Jinhwa said, but I liked Mary. The food her mom sent was the best. Young-soo said, I get what you mean, but you don't know Woo-ju's new girlfriend is rich. She's loaded. Then Woo-ju called them, saying, Mary contacted me. She was asking about a rental house. Young-suk yelled, she was asking for money. But Woo-ju denied it, saying, I already blocked her number. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Jinhwa opened it, and it was Mary. They all sat down to talk. Mary said, I've been trying to reach Woo-ju. Where is he? I need to talk to him about something important. His mother replied harshly, why would you contact him? Good thing you broke up. You don't deserve him. My son has degrees you dropped out of college. They kept throwing insults at her. Yoon-suk said, I know why you're here. You came to ask for rent money, didn't you? Mary said, no, I didn't come for money. I came for something else. But now I see that won't happen. At least I figured out where your son got his arrogance from you. His mother got furious and was about to slap her, but Mary caught her hand and said, I know what your husband did. He sexually assaulted a teacher. I can post that everywhere if I have to, so don't bother me again. Mary walked out, held herself together outside, and said, it's fine. It's all over now. Then Song-hee called her and said, that company contacted us. They want to meet you. In the next scene, Woo-ju was told that the CEO of the design company had arrived. As he was going to meet her, Young-soo stopped him and asked, where are you going? Woo-ju said, I'm going to get the design contract signed. Young-soo replied, all right, if you get it signed, I'll acknowledge your talent. If not, you'll have to resign. Woo-ju said, fine, no matter what, I'll get it done. Then he left. Meanwhile, Mary was in the restroom, calming herself down before stepping out. But she says, what is he doing here? Then she looks again, but Woo-ju isn't there anymore. Mary thinks maybe she just imagined seeing him. Later, when she finally meets the client, she realizes the person she's supposed to meet is actually Woo-ju himself. Mary has to act like she's meeting him for the first time because Woo-ju's employee is right there with him. Woo-ju says, we already told you what we need. You can't charge this much money. Mary replies, all right, I'll agree to your terms, but I have one condition. After that, she sends the assistant away and says to Woo-ju, be my husband. Woo-ju looks at her, surprised. You're still stuck on that? He says. If I report you to the police, you'll be arrested. You're a scammer. Mary calmly answers, you also need my help to get this contract signed. I need your help too. We're on the same page, so let's make a deal. You be my husband, and I'll sign the papers. Woo-ju refuses, saying, that's never going to happen. Mary insists, if you don't get this contract, you'll lose millions. She recalls overhearing a woman in the restroom talking about this same deal earlier. Woo-ju says, I don't care. I'd rather lose the money than work with a scammer. Then he gets a message from Young-soo. Did you get the contract signed yet? He remembers his grandmother's words. This is your first project. Make sure you do it right. Mary shows him her bruises, saying, you hit me with your car. That's how I ended up like this. Woo-ju denies it. In the end, Mary signs the contract. Woo-ju has no other choice but to agree. Later, both of them arrive at the department store. Mary says, I already sent all the documents to you. Woo-ju replies, I don't know anything. I'll just stand there and keep quiet. In the meeting, Mary explains why she's doing this. She says, I used to live in a rental house, but I got scammed. I was promised a townhouse worth 5 million won as a prize, and to claim it, I need your help. I don't even have a place to live right now. In the elevator, Mary gives Woo-ju a ring and a pair of glasses. Put these on, she says. In the photo I sent, you were wearing glasses. Woo-ju reluctantly does it. He then asks, what if your husband finds out about this? Mary says, don't worry, he won't. He doesn't answer my calls anymore. Meanwhile, Lee-sun talks to Sang-hyun and tells him, Mary and her husband are coming to the ceremony. Get the press conference ready. Mr. Kwon greets them both. Mary says, my husband just arrived in Korea, and I brought him straight here. Woo-ju says, I'm a bit tired. Kwon replies, no wonder you look different. You don't look like your picture. Then he says, I'd like to see your real IDs. Mary shows hers, but Woo-ju says, I left mine in the car. Kwon starts asking questions about their marriage, and Woo-ju answers every single one perfectly. Mary is stunned, thinking, when did he memorize all that? Is he a genius? Then Kwon mentions an article about them that's about to be published. Wooju quickly says, that can't happen. Kwon asks, why not? They panic until Wooju explains, it's because of debt collectors. They might recognize us and come for the money. Kwon agrees to keep it discreet. Wooju adds, use our fake names. Kwon nods and says he'll think about it. Then Wooju pretends to get a phone call. What, I might be sick? I'll come for a test right away, he says loudly. Kwon asks, what's wrong? Wooju explains, someone next to me on the plane was sick. I think I caught it. Kwon calls Lee Sun and tells him, who replies, we can't cancel the award ceremony because of that. Just give him a mask. At the ceremony, Wooju and Mary come on stage wearing masks, posing for photos with Sang-hyun. Afterward, Lee Sun hands Mary a gift, the key to the townhouse. She's overjoyed. He asks, where's your husband? We're heading to the townhouse. Mary lies. He went to the hospital for some tests. She remembers that earlier, when she was sitting alone, Wooju had messaged her saying, I'm leaving. She'd replied, thank you. But as soon as she steps outside, she sees Wooju there. Lee Sun asks, why are you here? Didn't you leave? Wooju replies, I was just about to. Lee Sun says, which direction? Where's your hospital? I'll drop you off. Wooju has no choice but to say, I just got my test results. They were negative. Lee Sun nods. Good, then come with us. I'll show you the townhouse. Wooju is forced to go along. When they arrive, they look around the place. Meanwhile, Yongsoo and his mother are seen nearby, watching them. Mi-yeon says, Wooju can't take your place. Keep an eye on that suspect. Inside, Lee Sun gives them a tour. Mary looks around the house, completely amazed. He asks, so when will you two move in? Mary answers, we plan to sell it. It's too far from our office. Lee Sun says, you can, but not yet. The rules say you can only sell after 3 months. Didn't you read that? Mary checks the rule sheet. It's true. Lee Sun adds, usually a couple is assigned an observer, but in your case, I'll be your neighbor. I'll visit you both every day. Then he says, be downstairs in 20 minutes. We'll go hang out and I'll introduce you to people around here. After he leaves, Wooju turns to Mary. What was that? Why did you agree to stay here for 3 months? I can't live here. And that guy said he'll visit every day. Mary says, he was just joking. Wooju shakes his head. I don't believe that. I can't do this anymore. I have my own life. Mary says, then tell me what to do. Is there any way out of this? Wooju sighs. I don't know. He takes off the ring and leaves. Outside, he calls her again. I'm sorry for yelling earlier, he says. Just then, a car honks. He moves aside and freezes. It's his own family. Yongsoo gets out and asks, what are you doing here? Wooju says, I just came to meet a friend. Meanwhile, Mary calls, asking, where did you go? Why aren't you answering? She comes outside. Yongsoo asks, which friend? Wooju replies, someone you don't know. As he tries to leave, Lee Sun suddenly shows up and says, are you ready? Wooju nods awkwardly. Then Lee Sun asks, where's your wife? Mi-yeon overhears and says, wife? Who's his wife? Wooju looks up and sees Mary standing there. Mary also sees them all, and the episode ends right there. Episode 3 begins with Listen asking Wooju where his wife is. Wooju is getting a call from Mary, but he doesn't answer it. Just then, he spots Mary coming toward him. Mary also sees him. Wooju gestures for her to leave, but Mary assumes he's waving hello and waves back. When she notices the car, she realizes that Wooju was actually telling her to go away. She quietly walks off but accidentally drops her phone. Now, Mary hides nearby. Listen says he saw someone there, but Wooju brushes it off and suggests they go hang out instead, leading him away. Meanwhile, Mi-yeon finds something in the car and tells her son that Wooju probably hasn't noticed it yet. Yongsoo replies that it doesn't matter since the chairwoman will tell him anyway. Mi-yeon insists that Wooju must not find out what they're doing. Mary's phone is still ringing. Her mom is calling, but she can't reach it. As she moves toward the road, she sees a car speeding her way and quickly hides. Mi-yeon hears the phone ringing and asks her son if it's his, but he denies it. They find the phone on the road and Mi-yeon steps out to check, but the call ends. She looks around and suddenly spots a dog shelter nearby. As she approaches, Mary, with her hair covering her face, comes out looking like a zombie. The two get terrified. Mary says, that's my phone, grabs it, and walks away. Mi-yeon wonders what's wrong with her, and Yongsoo comments that everyone around here seems mentally unstable. Then a dog starts barking at them, and they both run off. That night, Wooju calls Mary and tells her he already told Listen she wasn't home. He asks where she had disappeared to. Mary remembers the shelter scene, smiles slightly, and says she just went somewhere. She then asks who those people were and if he knew them. Wooju replies that they were his family. Mary sighs, saying that's unfortunate. Wooju warns her that staying there could be dangerous, but she didn't listen. Mary insists she won't stay there anymore. Wooju says he doesn't care and tells her not to call him again before hanging up. Mary mutters to herself that he's selfish and not kind, yet he's still her savior. He saved her life, and now she owes him. The next scene shifts to Pil Leon, who's having a checkup with Dr. Jin Kyung and her father, Yoon. Pil Leon has been feeling dizzy and struggling to breathe. Jin Kyung explains it's due to high blood pressure and advises her to avoid stress and overwork. Pil Leon teases her, saying that as a kid she used to annoy her, and now she's doing it again as a doctor. Then, she brings up the topic of marriage and asks if there's someone she likes. Yoon chimes in, saying that person is his grandson. Pil Leon smiles and asks if she really likes him, and Jin Kyung admits she does. Pil Leon laughs and says she'd love for her to be part of their family. She asks if Jin Kyung has confessed her feelings, but she shyly says not yet, and that she'll try. Meanwhile, Wooju arrives at the company. His employee, Sejong, spots him and brings him lunch. She clearly likes him and suggests they have dinner together next time. Her treat. Wooju agrees. Suddenly, Pyeon-sung, another man, notices Wooju and tries to hide, but Wooju calls out and says he needs to talk. They step outside and Wooju brings up the contract. Young-soo compliments him and asks how he managed to convince Mary to sign it. He suspects they must have known each other before and asks for a tip. Wooju simply replies that he can't say anything and tells him to ask her directly. In the next scene, Hanku is seen meeting with a company employee who informs him that their company has been collaborating with another firm, but it turns out that firm is being run by someone suspicious. Angu asks if he's told anyone else, and the man says no. Angu warns him to keep quiet and assures him he'll handle it. Later, Mary is looking for a place to stay. She contacts a realtor, but the rent is too expensive. She then calls her friend Gyeong, hoping to stay with her, but learns she's gone to the army and doesn't live there anymore. Gyeong offers to help if it's urgent, but Mary declines. As she walks, she notices two boys putting up a poster for a hotel. She approaches and decides to check it out. That night, she visits the hotel, speaks to the owner, pays, and goes up to her room. She spots a drunk man who stares at her for a moment before leaving. Nervously, she locks herself inside her room. The next morning, she's sleeping peacefully when her alarm goes off. It's already 9 a.m. She rushes to get ready and heads to a hospital to show her design samples to a doctor. As she leaves, she runs into Jin Kyung, who recognizes her. Jin Kyung says, "You're the same girl I helped before." They sit down to talk, and Jin Kyung asks what happened that day. Mary explains that she had a small accident and told Wooju she was fine, but he didn't believe her and insisted on bringing her to the hospital. He even paid the bill and dropped her home. Jin Kyung laughs, saying that Wooju always helps people, but he told her that Mary said some strange things, like asking him to be her husband. Mary gets flustered, wondering if he told her everything, and nervously says she was just joking. Jin Kyung smiles and says, "No need to be embarrassed. He tells me everything. We're very close." Mary cautiously asks if he said anything else, but Jin Kyung just laughs and doesn't answer. Later, Mary visits the bakery company where Wooju and his employees are working. She presents her packaging design proposal for sales, and everyone loves it. Wooju praises his employee for doing great work and invites her to join them for dinner. Mary reluctantly agrees. At the restaurant, everyone enjoys their meal. Sejong asks Wooju if he has a girlfriend, and he says no. Then she asks if he plans to get married, and he replies that it's not really necessary. The employees start joking about relationships, saying you should get an apartment before getting married. But one guy admits he can't afford it. Then another employee mentions that the department store is holding a prize giveaway. Everyone talking about a lucky draw. One of the employees says, "You should have joined it, Wooju. You could have won a town worth 5 million won." They mention that the winner has already been announced and decide to check who it is. Wooju and Mary exchange glances, a little nervous. They try to act normal as the man nearby checks the results. Wooju quickly lifts the menu to hide his face and tells Mary to pick something from it. Both of them secretly try to grab each other's phone to avoid being caught. The man reads the name of the winner, but it turns out to be fake. Still, he says the faces look familiar. Before he can say anything else, Wooju stuffs food into his mouth to distract him. Mary, a bit drunk, excuses herself and goes to the bathroom. One of the employees joins her and compliments her, saying she did great work and that her dress looks amazing. The employee then asks if she can handle the payment for dinner, and Mary nods. When she steps out, she hands over a few cards, but none of them have enough balance. Just then, Wooju comes over and pays the bill himself. Mary asks why he did that, and Wooju calmly says it's his responsibility since it's their work dinner. Later outside, Wooju talks to Mary and offers to drive her home. Mary agrees, but as she's about to leave, Wooju grabs her hand and says, "You're drunk. Let me drop you off safely." Mary hesitates but agrees, and they leave together in his car. One of the employees comments, "She shouldn't have gone with him. I was just about to collect money for the karaoke." In the car, Mary starts mumbling about what Jin Kyung asked her earlier. Wooju asks what she means, but she doesn't respond and starts to doze off. Wooju tries to wake her up and asks for her address, but she's already asleep. So he drives her back to her hotel. When they reach the 5th floor, Wooju helps her to her room and says, "You can open your door now. I'll leave." But then they realize Mary doesn't have her key. She must have left it at the restaurant. Wooju sighs and says, "We're already on the 5th floor. I'll go back down and get it." Mary offers to go with him, but he tells her to stay put. She falls asleep on the floor while waiting. A moment later, the hotel owner arrives, unlocks the door with his master key, and tells Wooju to bring the key later. Wooju carries Mary inside and lays her on the bed. As he looks around, he notices in the mirror that the owner is staring at Mary's feet. Wooju turns and says coldly, "Are you done? You can leave now." The owner nods and walks out. As Wooju heads out too, he notices the owner watching him and awkwardly waving goodbye. Wooju gets to his car, but suddenly remembers that Mary's wallet is still in the room. He calls her, and she picks up, but something feels off. Worried, he rushes back to the hotel. The owner is missing from the reception desk. Wooju sprints to the room and finds the door already open. Inside, the owner is sitting near Mary's feet. Without hesitation, Wooju punches him in the face. Mary wakes up startled and yells, "Why did you hit him? I just ordered noodles." "He spilled them on my feet, so he came with a first aid kit." Feeling embarrassed, Wooju apologizes. He asks, "You already had dinner at the restaurant, so why were you eating noodles again?" Mary replies, "I didn't really eat there. I thought I had to pay, so I barely touched my food. I was starving." Wooju tells her to stay at the hotel, but Mary says she doesn't have money. "Once I sell that town, I'll finally have cash," she explains. Her heels have hurt her feet, so Wooju kneels and gently applies ointment. Then he asks where she'll sleep tonight and if she has any relatives nearby. Mary shakes her head and says she'll just stay in her office. Wooju thinks for a moment, grabs her bag and says, "Come on, let's go." He takes her to the shelter town. They sneak upstairs quietly. Wooju hands her things over and tells her, "Listen, can't find out you're staying here." Mary agrees and promises to keep the lights off. Then she goes inside. Meanwhile, we see the same employee who had earlier discussed company corruption. Han-gu meets him and asks if he's heading home. The man says yes. Han-gu praises him, saying the chairwoman rewarded him well, but he already has plenty. He hands the man a small bottle and tells him to take it. Han-gu then gets into his car, drinks it, and drives off. But soon he starts feeling dizzy and sleepy. He loses control of the car, crashes, and dies instantly. The next morning, Mary wakes up and steps outside for some air. She spots Listen nearby and quickly hides. Listen, in another scene, talks with Sang-yeon and hands him a script related to public relations. He instructs Sang-yeon to visit Mary's house for PR purposes and keep an eye on them. Sang-yeon agrees, but warns Listen not to mess things up again. Later, Listen visits Mary and tells her the CEO will be visiting next week. Mary says she'll discuss it with her husband. Han-gu reports the employee's death to Pil-leon, who insists she should attend the funeral since the man worked for them for years. But she's not feeling well, so Han-gu tells her to rest and says he'll go instead. At the funeral, Han-gu meets the employee's family. Elsewhere, Listen is participating in a running event with several others, including Jin Kyung. He remembers Sang-yeon's warning that if he makes another mistake, everything given to him will be taken back. Furious and stressed, Listen starts running faster, overtaking everyone. Jin Kyung notices his frustration. That night, Mary tries to sleep, but a mosquito keeps bothering her. She gets up, clapping her hands to kill it. In the process, she accidentally turns on the lights. Outside, Listen arrives in his car and notices the lights in her house flicker. At first they were off, but now they're blinking. Mary tries to turn them off, but they won't respond. The doorbell rings and she checks the intercom. It's Listen. She opens the door and he says he came to drop off a parking permit form so she can register her car. Mary thanks him and mentions that her lights aren't turning off. Listen walks inside, checks a few rooms, and explains that she probably activated the audio sensor mode. After fixing it, he casually asks, "Where's your husband? I don't see any of his shoes or clothes around." Mary quickly replies that he works late in some regular company and that they haven't unpacked his things yet. Listen seems convinced and leaves. Later, Mary calls Woo-ju and tells him everything, including the part about the CEO's visit. Woo-ju scolds her, yelling, "Why did you clap? You could have just let the mosquito bite you." Mary sighs and says, "Listen is starting to get suspicious of us." Woo-ju calms down and asks when the CEO will be visiting. Mary asks, "Will you come that day?" The next scene shows both of them at a photo studio, dressed for their wedding photos. Woo-ju looks handsome in his suit, and then Mary walks in wearing a wedding dress. He can't take his eyes off her. Since Chung-yoon will be visiting their home, they need these photos as proof of marriage. Mary adjusts her dress and complains that it feels too tight and hard to breathe. Woo-ju stands up, loosens the zipper a little, and asks if she's okay. She nods. Woo-ju tells her, "I know this feels awkward for both of us, but we have to do it so no one suspects anything." Mary smiles softly and says, "All right, then I'll do it." She gently places her hand on his. Inside, she thinks to herself, "Why am I reacting like this? It's not even a real wedding." They pose for photos together. Outside, Sejong, Woo-ju's employee, walks in with her friends and starts taking photos too. Woo-ju finishes and heads out, but just as he steps outside, he spots Sejong coming toward him. He quickly hides back inside. Mary, unaware, is also walking out, but Woo-ju pulls her back inside. Mary asks what's going on, and he explains, "My employee is here." Sejong walks closer to the room. Woo-ju looks at Mary, takes a breath, and says, "I'm sorry for this." Then he suddenly kisses her. A moment later, Sejong opens the door, saying, "Woo-ju, are you here?" Mary sees her, grabs Woo-ju, and kisses him again. See. And with that, the episode ends. At the beginning of episode 4, the two of them were kissing. Sejong walks in and asks, "Woo-ju, are you here?" But when she sees them kissing, she quickly says sorry and leaves. Her friend asks if her team leader is inside. Sejong says she's not sure, but judging by his back, it seems like he is. Her friend suggests they should go check, but Sejong stops her saying, "Forget it, they're kissing." Then she walks away. Mary tells Woo-ju that she's probably gone. Woo-ju agrees. Mary notices something and says, "You've got lipstick on your lips." He tries to wipe it off but can't, so she helps him, gently touching his lips. Later, they both step outside to look for Sejong, but she's already gone. Then we see them back in town, getting ready to hang their wedding photo. But they don't have a hammer. They go to Listen for help, and he brings one for them. Woo-ju asks, "Weren't you on a business trip? How was it?" Listen says it went well, then adds, "It's the weekend. You should be home resting." Woo-ju replies, "I'm too busy. I try to rest, but that's impossible." Listen then says he's heading out to hang out and asks if they want to come along. Woo-ju and Mary tell him they already have plans. The two leave together, walking close to each other, sometimes brushing shoulders, while Listen just watches them until they disappear inside. Next, Woo-ju is at work. Sejong passes by, staring at him. Won-suk asks why she's looking at him like that. Sejong says she saw him at the photo studio yesterday, but Monsu insists it must have been someone else. During their meeting later, Sejong is still talking about Woo-ju. Suni comes over and asks what they're discussing. Sejong explains what she saw, but Suni says that can't be right. She doesn't believe Woo-ju has a girlfriend. "Didn't you see his face?" she asks. Sejong says, "He was kissing someone." Suni asks who the girl was, but Sejong admits she doesn't know. Then, while they're talking about the kiss, Sejong looks at Mary and says, "She looked a lot like you." Mary freezes and says nothing. Sejong tells her, "You could just call the photo studio and ask who came in yesterday. Mary says, "You didn't even think of that." Sejong then starts to make the call. Wooju walks in for the meeting just as she's on the phone. Afterward, Wooju tells Mary that he had already made the photo studio reservation under a different name. Mary thanks him, saying she was so nervous inside, she was sweating. Wooju asks if Listen tried to contact her again, but she says no. Mary adds, "When we took those wedding photos, that kiss just kinda happened. Don't take it seriously." Wooju laughs. "I'm not the one taking it seriously, you are. You practically jumped on me like a bull." Mary blushes and says, "Sejong showed up. If I hadn't kissed you, she would have seen us. By the way, was that your first kiss?" Wooju says, "I was just trying to avoid Sejong." Then he hands her the clothes she left behind. She thanks him, and he says, "If you're grateful, you owe me. My grandma loved your designs. She wants you to make a presentation." Later, Mary talks to Songyi about the upcoming presentation. Songyi tells her who Pin Lion is and praises her in several ways. Mary gets excited and says she's looking forward to meeting her and working together. Meanwhile, Pin Lian is speaking with Hongku. She asks if he went to the funeral, and he nods. He says something's been bothering him. He suspects that their employee, Mr. Ko, was embezzling money. They recently found out he was gambling, and then the next day he had an accident. Pin Lion is shocked, saying, "That can't be. He was so loyal." Hongku says he knows it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. If the media finds out about the embezzlement, it could ruin their company's image. Pin Lion asks what they should do. Hongku advises that they should stay quiet. At dinner, Pin Lion tells Young-soo that he'll be taking over Mr. Ko's position. She also says they should do something for his family. Mian interrupts, saying, "His wife never even came to see us. Why should we do anything?" She adds that Mr. Ko was the only one in the car. If his family had been with him, they all would have died. Everyone turns to look at Wooju, since the same thing happened to his family. Hongku signals Mian to stop talking, but she keeps going, saying, "Come on, everyone knows his story." Wooju calmly says, "It's fine, I'm okay," and leaves the room. Afterward, Pin Lion scolds Mian for her insensitive comments. Mian snaps back, "Why do you always scold me? He said he's fine." But Young-soo quietly says, "He's not fine. I know him. He's fragile. He gets scared easily. When we were kids, I took one of his toys. He always carried that toy with him. It was his comfort toy." We then see Wooju in his room, staring at that same toy. He flashes back to the past, to the car crash. He had crawled out of the wreck, screaming for help. A car stopped nearby, with a little girl and her father inside. Later, at the police station, Wooju sits silently while the taxi driver and the little girl give their statements. The girl walks up to him, hands him her toy, and says, "My dad gave this to me for my birthday. You can have it." There's a button on it. When she presses it, it plays comforting words. Then Pin Leon and Hongku arrive. Wooju runs to his grandmother, crying. When he looks back for the girl, she's gone. But the toy remains. He takes the toy and sits in the car, then spots the same girl crying nearby. She asks her father, "Did that boy's parents die? That can't be true. Who's going to take care of him now?" Wooju overhears everything. Then we cut to Mary at home, replaying the kiss scene in her head. She mumbles, "Did I use my tongue?" She keeps replaying the moment, then hits herself, saying, "What am I doing? Am I getting too deep into character? I shouldn't be acting like this. It wasn't even real." Next, we see Jin Kyung at the hospital, looking for a spot to confess her feelings. Once she finds it, she calls Wooju and asks, "Are you free today? Let's go out together." Wooju asks, "Why are you taking me out? Don't you have friends?" Jin Kyung replies, "That's not it at all. I thought you might be getting bored, so I wanted to take you out." Wooju says, "All right, I already have plans today, but I'll meet you in the evening." Jin Kyung gets really happy. The nurse looks at her and asks if she's going on a date, but Jin Kyung doesn't say anything. She starts looking through a file and says that their VIP patient is Sung Yeon. She also adds that they visited him and thinks nothing is wrong with him. He's just pretending to stay in the hospital. Just then, Listen walks by, and the nurse immediately goes quiet. After he leaves, the nurse tells Jin Kyung that Listen works for Sung Yeon, and no matter if it's day or night, he has to come here. She says she feels bad for him. In the next scene, Mary and Wooju are together, preparing to meet Sung Yeon today. They match their shoes, their clothes, and get everything ready. Mary asks him questions about their wedding, and Wooju answers. Then she asks when their honeymoon was, but he can't answer. Mary says, "We never even went on a honeymoon. So if they ask, just say we plan to go to London." Wooju jokes that her ex must be pretty cool to let her go on a honeymoon trip with another man. Mary replies that she did so much for him, she bought insurance for him, helped with the apartment money. Wooju asks if he ever thanked her, but she says no. Wooju then asks how they met. Mary starts recalling the past and says that during a vacation, she almost drowned, but he saved her. She thought that was love, and they'd get married, but she was wrong. Wooju asks if she regrets it. She admits she does and says maybe the problem was her. Maybe she needs to change herself. Wooju says, "You don't need to change the right person. We'll love you just the way you are, someone who won't take your love lightly." Mary thanks him for saying that. Inside, Mary's phone starts ringing. It's her mom, but she doesn't notice. Meanwhile, Sukja tells Young-suk, "Why are you preparing food?" Young-suk says she's going to meet Mary's in-laws. Sukja tells her that Wooju never comes to visit, that he looks down on her. But Young-suk insists that's not true. He's just busy. She says she'll call him right now. At that time, Wooju is in a hotel, checking his stock investments, which have dropped. He gets a call from Mary's mom, but ignores it and cuts the call. Then he sees a message on his girlfriend Jenny's phone. It's from a guy named C, asking her to come to a room. Jenny comes out of the shower and tells him to go shower next. Wooju kisses her and heads into the bathroom. The next scene shows Listen arriving at the police station. He calls Mary and tells her that Mr. Sung won't be able to meet them today, so let's cancel. Mary says it's fine. Then Listen goes inside and meets a man showing him a video of Sung Yeon hitting him. The man asks who Listen is, and Listen says he represents Mr. Sung. Afterward, Listen meets the victim outside and asks him to tell the police that he hit Sung Yeon first. The man refuses, saying they have the footage. Listen says the footage can be erased. The man still refuses. So, Listen offers him money. The man is shocked at the amount and finally agrees. 8. Mary later tells Wooju that Sung Yeon won't be coming. Wooju says, "Okay, I'll come another day," and starts to leave. But then he notices some paintings, cartoon-style ones. He asks what they are. Mary says she wants to include them in her presentation and asks if he wants to know more. Wooju says, "Sure, tell me." Meanwhile, Listen is with Sung Yeon at the hospital, explaining what he did with the victim. Sung Yeon asks why he paid so much money. Listen replies that the man had footage. Sung Yeon then asks about his father. Does he know what happened? Listen says his father also believes Sung Yeon is the victim. Sung Yeon nods and asks him to bring food. As Listen leaves, Jin Kyung overhears everything. Then we see Mary showing her presentation. She says she created this cartoon inspired by her first love. Wooju laughs and says it looks silly, but Mary insists it's not, that he was handsome. Wooju asks if she's still in touch with her first love, and she denies it. Then she asks him about his first love. Wooju says he's never experienced one. Mary playfully hits him with a pillow and says, "Don't lie." Wooju just looks at her. Mary apologizes, but Wooju says it's okay. Just then, Jin Kyung calls him. Wooju says he totally forgot they were supposed to meet today. Jin Kyung says it's fine. They can meet another time. Later, Jin Kyung goes to a bar, starts drinking, and Listen joins her, silently drinking too. She keeps looking at him, then starts a conversation, saying she knows who he is, that he works for the VIP patient in their hospital. She adds that there are lots of rumors about him, that he's a terrible person. But even so, she says she respects Listen. Listen looks at her and asks who she is. Jin Kyung says she's seen him at the hospital. She's a doctor. Listen then says, "Whoever is spreading those rumors should be fired or paid off." Jin Kyung says, "Let it be. I was just trying to comfort you." Listen replies, "That's not comfort, that's arrogance." She apologizes, then adds that money can't solve everything, and that he must be upset. That's why he's here, just like her. He looks at her quietly. She asks what he's looking at, then says, "Do you think I'm upset because someone dumped me?" That's not it. Listen doesn't reply, just pours her another drink. Jin Kyung asks if he's trying to flirt, but he denies it and says, "I just want you to drink this and go home soon." Meanwhile, Young-suk has arrived in Seoul. The next scene shows Wooju giving his presentation, with Mary there too. Suddenly, Mary gets a message from her mom, saying she's in Seoul and heading to Wooju's family home. Mary runs out in panic. Wooju notices and follows her. Mary tries calling her mom, but she doesn't pick up. Wooju asks what's wrong, and Mary says her mom is going to meet his family. Wooju says, "Your mom probably doesn't know you two broke up." Just then, Sejong comes out and tells Mary her turn for the presentation has come. Wooju tells her to send him her ex's address. He'll try to stop her mom. Mary sends it, and meanwhile, Young-suk has already arrived there. She talks to both of them, and they tell her that Wooju and her daughter have already broken up. One of them scoffs and says, "Did you really think your daughter could become the daughter-in-law of our family? She doesn't know anything. She doesn't even have a degree." They start saying all kinds of harsh things to her. Young-suk tries to defend herself, but accidentally slips and falls to the ground. Both women panic and rush inside for help. At that very moment, Wooju arrives and sees her on the floor. He quickly runs over and helps her up. Then he gently asks, "You're Mary's mother, right?" She nods her head yes. In the next scene, both of them are in the car. Young-suk asks him, "Does your company work with my daughter?" Wooju smiles and replies, "Yes, we do. And by the way, could you please speak casually with me? After all, she's my boss at her own company." Young-suk laughs nervously and says, "You must have heard what those people said back there, but it's not true. My daughter is a really good person." Wooju nods and says, "I know, everyone likes her." Then Young-suk begins talking about her daughter's childhood, how much she suffered after her father passed away, and how strong she has been since. Meanwhile, Mary finishes her presentation and calls her mom. She asks if everything's okay. Young-suk replies, "I couldn't meet them. I'm with Wooju right now, but I'm heading back to my hometown. Don't worry about me." After hanging up, she tells Wooju not to tell Mary that they met. She doesn't want to make her daughter anxious. "She didn't tell me about the breakup herself," she adds, "so she must have had her reasons." Wooju nods and promises not to say anything. Later, he calls Mary and says, "Your mom's gone back home. She gave me some food for you. I'm coming over, so stay home." Mary agrees, though she's already in a taxi when Jinwoo calls her. What they talk about will be revealed later. At home, she's visibly upset. Suddenly, someone knocks on the door. It's Wooju. He hands her the food and notices her troubled expression. "What's wrong?" he asks. At first, she doesn't respond, but then she confesses, "I found out that my mom met them." We flash back to Jinwoo's call earlier, where she shouted at Wooju, "Your mother came here, didn't she? You didn't even tell her about us. Because of her, my mom was completely heartbroken." Mary tells Wooju, "I should have told my mom earlier, but I couldn't. Now she'll never be proud of me." Wooju calmly replies, "Why do you need her to be proud? You're her daughter, that's enough. You don't have to prove anything. And I'm sure your mom is ready to hear your story when you're ready to tell it." Later, Mary calls her mom and starts to bring up Wooju, but Young-suk cuts her off, saying, "Don't. I already know what kind of person he is. You did the right thing by leaving him. Just live happily in your apartment." Mary hesitates before saying, "I don't live there anymore. I moved into a townhouse. I even won an award." She explains how it happened, but Young-suk only says, "That's good, but don't get caught." Mary is shocked to hear her mom talk like that. Then we see Young-suk looking at a photo. She tears Wooju's picture in half and starts dancing in happiness over her daughter's award. Meanwhile, Wooju is with Jenny. She tells him she's going to meet a friend later. Wooju curiously asks, "Who?" Jenny just smiles and says, "I'll introduce you someday. I've got to go now." In the elevator, she kisses him goodbye and leaves. Wooju feels uneasy and decides to follow her. He watches as she heads into a hotel, trying to figure out which room she's going to. Then he remembers the text he saw earlier on her phone, the same name and the same room number. He quietly takes the stairs up to that room. When he looks inside, he sees Jenny kissing another man. His heart sinks. He realizes she's been cheating on him. At the same time, Mary is at home eating the food her mom sent. Her mom calls and says, "I lost my purse somewhere. I think it might be in Wooju's car. Can you ask him?" Mary agrees and calls Wooju. He checks the car, finds the purse, but when he opens it, he notices a photograph. It's the same little girl who once gave him a toy. Then it hits him. He remembers the moment he brought Mary to the hotel and saw that same photo before. That's when he realized Mary was the very girl he'd been searching for all these years, the girl from his past, right there in front of him all along. We see flashes of the moments between them, the wedding photos, his growing closeness to her, and the way he deliberately stayed near her because now he knew she was his first love. He remembers his school days, how he once got scared when a car approached him, and how he later fell into depression, the only comfort being that little toy he always carried. Now, everything makes sense to him. Every time he helped Mary, every time he listened to her, it was all because deep down, he wanted to repay the kindness she once showed him. In the final moments, we see another Wooju, who's now back in Korea. Mary is busy working at home when her phone rings. She thinks it's the colleague she's been collaborating with and says, "Did you find the purse?" But the voice on the other end says, "It's me, I'm back." And with that, the episode ends. We'll see what happens next in episode 5. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Episode 5 begins with Mary at her house when suddenly her phone rings. She assumes it's Wooju calling, but it turns out to be her ex-husband, Wooju. He says, "I've arrived in Korea." Mary immediately hangs up. Wooju tries to call again, but she doesn't pick up. He mutters to himself, "She must be feeling proud. I'll have to work hard to win her back." Mary, on the other hand, wonders, why is Wooju calling me? How did he even find out that I won the town prize? Just thinking about it makes me nervous. Right then, her current husband, also named Wooju, calls her. She answers. He tells her, "I found your mom's bracelet. Should I come and drop it off?" Mary replies, "No, it's fine. I'll come to your office tomorrow and pick it up." She then thinks to herself, should I tell him that Wooju is back in Korea? Maybe I shouldn't. He's already done so much for me. Later, Wooju arrives home and finds Pilyuen in the garden. She asks where he went. Wooju casually replies, "Just went out to hang around a bit. Anyway, what about you? Couldn't sleep?" She agrees. Wooju smiles and says, "You shouldn't take so much work stress. Uncle and I can handle the company. You should rest more, maybe even go on a date." She laughs and says, "What are you talking about? I'm too old for dates. But listen, keep doing your job properly. And you should think about getting married." The next morning, Mary heads to work and spots Listen arriving in his car. She tries to hide, but he notices her. He asks, "Where's your husband? I didn't see his car parked here." Mary answers, "He's been working overnight, so he couldn't make it." Listen nods. "All right then. Want a ride?" Mary politely refuses. Later, Listen visits Pilyuen with Hanguk. They talk about business. Hanguk says, "I know Mr. Sung, we went to school together and used to play golf." He adds, "From our marketing team, we have Wooju here. You should meet him." Wooju hears that someone from the beauty department store has arrived and is invited to join the meeting. Curious, he asks the secretary who it is. "It's Listen," she says. Wooju freezes. He quickly excuses himself, pretending he needs to use the restroom. Inside, he mutters nervously, "What should I do now?" He stays there for a while until his secretary calls, asking where he is. Wooju fakes a reason. "I've got constipation. I can't come." He tries to sneak out, but Hanguk and Listen walk in. With no choice left, Wooju greets Listen and introduces himself as the marketing team leader. Listen pretends not to know him. Inside the elevator, Listen asks, "So, you work here?" Wooju nods. "Can you do me a favor?" he asks. Listen smirks. "I already know what that is. You want me to keep your marriage a secret." He continues, "You don't really look like someone who worked all night." Wooju is left speechless. As the elevator doors open, Mary is standing there. She spots both of them. Listen asks her, "What are you doing here?" Wooju quickly interrupts. "She came to get her wallet. We accidentally exchanged them this morning." Listen frowns. "But you weren't here this morning." Mary, realizing he's messing up, pinches Wooju and says, "You're under too much work pressure. You forgot it was yesterday, not today." Wooju nods awkwardly. "Right, I forgot." After Listen leaves, Mary asks Wooju what's going on. He explains he's here for work. "By the way," he adds, "what was that about today and yesterday?" Mary sighs. "Listen saw me this morning, and I told him you'd been working all night." Wooju replies, "You should have told me earlier. I could have planned for it. From now on, you have to call me 2 or 3 times a day." Mary asks, "Are you really that interested?" Wooju responds, "What are you saying? I just want to minimize the risk." Later that evening, Wooju has dinner with his family. Jenny asks him for some money to open an ice cream shop. Yoonsu asks, "Did you meet Jenny's parents? Did you talk about marriage?" Wooju doesn't respond. He just gets up angrily and walks out. Sitting outside, he recalls a painful memory. Jenny had once told him she loved someone else who lived in that same room number, that their parents had already arranged their marriage. Woo-ju had yelled, "What nonsense are you talking about? Are you cheating on me?" Jenny smiled. "Are you jealous?" He replied, "You can't have two husbands. It's either him or me. Choose one." Jenny looked straight at him and said, "Then I choose him." Woo-ju then remembers his moments with Mary, how she once lay in his arms. He'd asked, "Why do you like me?" She had smiled and said, "Because you're handsome." He stares at their old photos and whispers, "Mary, forgive me. I shouldn't have done that." The next day, Mary meets with her boss, who's showing her a new design when she gets a call from Gonghwa. "I'm here in town. I want to see you," she says. They meet at a restaurant. As they sit, the owner comes by and says someone wants to join them. It turns out to be Woo-ju. Mary is shocked. "How did you know about this place?" Woo-ju smiles. "It's a famous spot. I come here often." Gonghwa, seeing him, instantly falls for him, calling him her first love type. She starts describing the kind of man she likes. Everything she lists perfectly matches Woo-ju. Then she asks Mary about her first love. Woo-ju teasingly says, "Do you still miss him?" Mary answers, "I don't know. We only met for a short time, but I loved the back of his head. He must be even more handsome now. He was totally my type. If I saw him again, I'd recognize him instantly." Woo-ju hides his joy, smiling quietly. Outside, Gonghwa gives gifts to both of them. Woo-ju looks at them and asks, "Who's the cactus for?" She says, "That one's for Mary." Woo-ju hands it to her and jokes, "Don't sit on it." Mary blushes, remembering the night she accidentally did. Later, Woo-ju says goodbye, heads home, and looks at their wedding photo, smiling to himself. The scene shifts to Jin-young with Sung-hyun. He's pretending to be in pain. Jin-young says, "I know you're faking it. You're perfectly fine. You'll be discharged within a week." She gets up to leave. Listen tries to convince her to stay, but she refuses. Sung-hyun tells him, "Let it go." She's the director's daughter, stubborn as ever. Jin-young's colleague asks her, "Can you cover my night shift tonight? I've got something important." But Jin-young declines. "Sorry, I can't. I already have plans." Then we finally see what those plans are. Woo-ju waiting for her at a bar. The episode continues with Woo-ju noticing Jin-young and asking why she's dressed like that. "Are you here for a blind date or something?" He jokes, but she replies that she just felt like wearing it and asks what he's doing there. Woo-ju explains, "I didn't make the reservation, my grandmother did." Then he teases her about something from their childhood, reminding her how much she used to love someone. Jin-young quickly says, "He was a cheater. You know I broke up with him later." She takes a deep breath and says she wants to tell him something. She's about to confess her feelings when a singer nearby starts performing, and everyone claps. Woo-ju looks toward the stage, then turns back to her. "So, what were you about to say? Were you going to tell me?" He pauses before asking, "Did you see the back of my head before? Do you think it's handsome? Someone once told me they remember my head from behind and still haven't forgotten it." She looks surprised. "Who is she? Is she your first love?" Woo-ju smiles faintly and nods. "How did you know?" "To be honest, I met the girl who once gave me that toy. She's my first love." Jin-young quietly asks, "Who is she?" Woo-ju answers, "She's the cactus girl you treated once." Jin-young asks, "Does she know about this?" He shakes his head. "No, only I know. Should I tell her?" But Jin-young immediately says no. "Don't tell her? If you do, she'll think her father's death was because of you." Meanwhile, Sang-hyun is reading magazine featuring Listen on the cover. He gets angry, throws some money on the table, and says, "We went to school together. Back then, when some boys were bullying me, you protected me. But that doesn't mean you're my equal. You'll always be my dog." We see Jin-young sitting at a piano, trying to play, but lost in thought. She remembers telling Woo-ju not to tell Mary the truth, and questions herself. Why did I say that? Maybe I was scared that Mary's reaction would hurt him. Then she plays softly, recalling a memory of a little boy playing beside her. Next, Listen enters the scene and notices Jin-young there. The story then shifts to Woo-ju's grandfather's memorial service, where everyone has gathered. Mi-young is talking with her son Young-soo, criticizing Woo-ju. But Young-soo reminds her, "Today's his birthday. Did you forget?" Mi-young replies coldly, "How could I forget? On his birthday, my brother died because of him." Behind them, Woo-ju overhears everything. Later, Wooju is driving home with his grandmother. She seems deep in thought about her late husband. The scene flashes back to a funeral years ago. Wooju was crying, and Pil-yoon told him, "Say whatever you need to say to your parents. This is your last chance." Wooju tearfully said, "They died. Because of me." Then the flashback reveals what happened. On his birthday, he asked his father why he gave his toy to Young-soo. As his father turned around to answer, a truck suddenly appeared and the accident happened. Mi-young receives a call from Pil-yoon's secretary saying Pil-yoon hasn't eaten anything today. Mi-young sighs and says to her family, "I know why. Today's the day she stops thinking about Wooju and remembers her husband instead." Then we see Han-kook remembering the past. He was there the day Wooju's parents died. A man nearby watches the crash and sends a message, reporting, "It's done." That man was Han-kook. Back in the present, Mary is at home when she notices it's raining. She steps outside and sees her cactus blooming with flowers. She takes a photo and sends it to Wooju. He receives it while sitting alone in his room, remembering how everyone ignored him that day. Then he sees Mary's message. "It's blooming." A moment later, Mary gets a group message saying, "Today is team leader Wooju's birthday." She quickly texts him, "I'm sorry, I didn't even realize today's your birthday. Should I bring you a cake?" Wooju replies, "I'm starving. Just order me some food." Mary types back, "Would you like home-cooked food instead?" Then she hesitates. "What did I just write? Am I flirting with him?" Wooju messages, "All right, I'm coming over." Mary starts cooking, video calling her mom for help. Young-soo asks, "Why are you cooking so much? Are you expecting someone?" Mary denies it. "No, I'm just cooking for myself." She hangs up, but Young-soo smirks and says, "I know someone's coming. I just hope it's that guy." A little later, Wooju arrives at Mary's place and is shocked to see the table full of food. They sit down together, and Wooju tries the soup first, but it's way too salty. He laughs awkwardly and says, "It's been years since I've had soup. I stopped drinking it after my parents died." Mary gently tells him, "It's okay. There are so many days in a year. You can forget one. Just enjoy the rest." He smiles and eats quietly. Then, noticing something on her face, he leans forward and wipes it away. Mary glances outside and gasps, "There's a rainbow!" She takes him outside, telling him to make a wish. At that moment, her ex-husband Wooju arrives nearby, trying to call her. Mary asks the Wooju beside her, "What did you wish for?" He smiles but doesn't answer. She chases after him, insisting, "Tell me!" But she slips, her foot caught in a pipe, and falls right into his arms. The two look at each other, eyes locked, as Wooju slowly leans in to kiss her. Just then, her ex-husband stands nearby, watching them in silence. The episode ends right there. We'll meet again in episode 6. Until then, goodbye.